And I'm back with Garth Riley, stage 2. We were talking about the little green meanies inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we all have the green meanies, don't we?
Right.
The little critical voice inside. I mean, that voice can be used wisely to help us to keep checks and balances for ourselves so we don't get too inflated. So it's good that way. But then when it becomes a detriment to our own being, when we sit in front of the mirror and spend time going over and over and over again, that one little thing, you have a great day, amazing things happen, but then there's just that one moment where things don't seem to work out accordingly.
Right.
And you were talking a little bit about that. That's your worst quality. But
Yes.
we didn't get to the best quality.
I'm an optimist.
Mm.
In light of it all, after I sort of hit these issues, then I always find a way, or have people help me find the way. But more often I find, I say, oh, okay, well, we can do this then. I'm resourceful. So what can we do? We can do this.
A resourceful optimist.
Yeah. And I have an ability to engage people in my vision.
Mm.
I think because it resonates with them. I think because what I'm ultimately trying to do is up humanity a bit, is to take away some of the BS kind of stuff that goes on, and that I'm actually just saying it as it is and playfully doing it and pointing it out, almost like I think the First Nations people call it a hakoya,
Oh, hey, I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like a court gesture, like
hey, okay.
hey,
Thank
okay.
You. Okay.
So I think someone called me that years ago, and you know what, and so.
Do you know about the story of the Hilkie?
No, I mean I think that. Go ahead.
Okay, well he rides into battle backwards on his horse.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That would be me.
And
now it would be me now. Irreverent in some cases. Yeah, I think. You know what? It's also, I think, I look at institutions and things that are being held in a certain esteem, and I don't really see them the same way. I have reverence for them if they deserve reverence,
mm-hmm.
but there isn't I have a lot of reverence for about institutions. I think they're just places that people learn how to behave. So I say things like this, and then, I think people often, when I start talking like this, I often see people start nodding their heads, things that we think are absolute, I remember I was telling you a story one time about a bank. So we're in this business course, and, I'm with all these brand new entrepreneurs, and I've been around doing entrepreneurial stuff for years, and this bank stood at the front and said, you got to submit your business plan. And, you could see these people who are eager to start their business,
fall into line.
Yeah, they go there. So okay, we're going to do this. And I actually put my hand up and said, "Wait a minute. Does that mean that if I have the world's best business plan, that you're going to approve me?" And they said, "No." I said, "So you're making these people dance this dance, knowing that it has nothing to do with it. Is it not true that the bank needs to have secured assets 2.5 to 3 times what the person needs to borrow?" And while they tried to dance around it, they eventually said it. And I said, "Here you are, and there's a room full of 18 people here.
Like, speak the truth.
Cut it."
Yeah.
And they thought I was irreverent, and then the lady wouldn't leave me alone, like as if to try and tear me down. Like, don't do this because I'm not going to allow you to do it on my shift. I don't know where that comes from, but when I start to say that, I think people kind of go, yeah. I don't know why I have the guts, but I've had those guts to stand up to institutions for years.
So it's like leveling the playing field,
Mm-hmm.
evening out the scales,
Yes.
fairness,
Yeah.
equality,
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah.
So everybody has an opportunity to experience the chance for them to explore, to expand their talents and gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a young guy in today that, he was, I met him a year ago at Windreach Farm, and I was doing some work there for about 6 weeks, and, a great kid, very fond of him. I remember working one time in the garden with him and watching how he was inefficient in his work. And I said, okay, his name. And I said, this is how we actually work efficiently. No one had taught this kid how to do it. So he calls me because he's out of the program now and he's trying to get a job, and he's got this thing where they sell knives, those companies that hire those kids to do that. And he's having a hard time. And I sat through his presentation because he gets paid to do one. Mm-hmm. And I tried to give him a hand, but I looked at him, I said, are you having fun? He goes, no. Now, I don't think he should always have to have fun, but I think he's improperly tasked. Yeah. Nobody really took a look at his talents and gifts. So to that company, I think, what are you doing sending people out there? Don't you care about your brand enough that you care that you actually have a good representation? And then the other part is that what could he be good at? What is he good at? And can he use in the company? So there's all these old models, old ideas of selling stuff. I mean, this young guy said, listen, go get a job. Really, go get an hourly job and then practice sales. Do it part-time. And I said, because you will make a lot of money being a salesperson, there's no question, but you will starve at this pace the way you're going with. You need to focus here and go here. No, I don't want to wreck his dreams, but ultimately this company's prepared for this kid. He got on his bicycle, drove here today, drove here in the humidity. I admired him for that. I complimented him on that. I actually offered him a gift because of that. Right. Rewarded that behavior, but that doesn't happen. What we see people doing is watching people, how much they'll bend and how much they'll bend some more. We watch institutions that people I've worked with, even for me, that they've actually said, oh, I can do that. I could push him even further. I could pay him even less. And I'm going to do that, but I know I don't have to pay him the full freight. And to those people, your day's done. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to call you on your crap.
Wow.
But where does that come from? Like, why do I, there's this thing about, I met this guy who talked about social engineering, right? And he said, 5% of the population are hunters, 45% are gatherers, and other 50% are scavengers. And he goes, so the people that are out there, the hunters, usually get beaten up by the rest of the population. I think I'm a hunter. And why
don't we change that to leader?
Yeah, well, I think now it turns into a leader. I think, and we're going into election year now, and I'm watching the garbage that's going on. We need to know who people are. And I thought of my role is to kind of help people bring that out. I think I do that well.
So we want to know who you are.
I'm the guy that does that. I'm the guy that can put himself in the second seat, allowing someone to find their greatness, not having to stand in the spotlight. Can I stand in the spotlight and stand on the stage? Sure. Do I do that? Sure, I do that one at a time. But I'm also prepared to say, I'm going to show you something in you that you could take it. So if you need to stand in the spotlight, go ahead. I've never really stood in the spotlight saying what I've said today.
Okay, so we're going to go to a break right now?
Sure.
Okay, and when we come back, I'm going to ask you a question that's going to put you right on the spot.
Okay, and we'll be right back.